NFL Super Wildcard Weekend kicks off tomorrow. Let's take a look at some of the games we have coming up. Let's start with Saturday. The Raiders go up against the Bengals. The Patriots will take on Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I know Jeff would be excited, but that's sub-zero temperatures they'll be playing in. On Sunday, the Eagles will meet Tom Brady and the Bucs again, and the 49ers and the Cowboys will renew their rivalry. Also on Monday, the fourth time's a charm for the Cardinals and the Rams this season. Here to break it all down is CBS Sports NFL writer Tyler Sullivan. Thanks for joining us, Tyler. Get us to the action. What games stand out to you for this wild card weekend?
I mean, I don't know how you can't look at the 49ers and Dallas Cowboys and not get excited. I mean, there is so much history between these two teams, and it goes back to the 70s, 80s, and, of course, the 90s, when these two franchises, probably two of the most historic franchises in the NFL, trading off Super Bowl runs back and forth, of course, especially during those 90s, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman. It is just an amazing time to see both of these franchises once again in 2022 going toe-to-toe. And it's ultimately one of the more intriguing matchups in this as well. It's not only just some nostalgia that fans will see in this game. This could also be one of those matchups where an upset happens. The 49ers are a very good team. They just squeaked into the postseason with a win in Week 18. The Dallas Cowboys, they have the #1 ranked defense in the NFL. They have a high-octane offense. But Kyle Shanahan, the head coach of the 49ers, they have what it takes to maybe go into Dallas and come out with a win. It might be one of the more surprising things to happen on Super Wildcard Weekend.
Yeah, I was really hoping for the Saints to make it in Wild Card Weekend, but, I'm still looking at my wounds from last week. How will the weather impact these games?
Yeah, well, if you're talking about weather, you have to look at what's going on with the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. I don't know what it is. Whenever these teams go head-to-head in Orchard Park, New York, the weather seems to be an issue, or at least a storyline. You go back earlier this season when these two teams both played in Buffalo, the winds were going crazy. 40-mile-per-hour winds. The Patriots only threw the football 3 times in that game, and still ultimately were able to come out with a win. This game, you have to look out with the temperatures. It's supposed to be sub-zero temperatures, freezing cold weather. You're even seeing ticket prices drop tremendously because fans will just say, you know what, I'm going to watch this game at home. I don't need to freeze my butt off in this one. But ultimately, that is going to be an impact here. If everything was normal, the Buffalo Bills are a far better team than the New England Patriots. But because the weather is a factor, very similar to what we saw earlier this season, that could give the Patriots a chance in this one with a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones.
Yeah, go Bills. But what about that other Patriot? How's he looking? The one who's down south. Tom Brady, I'm talking about here.
I don't think he's dealing with the weather. I think he's enjoying this much better in Tampa Bay. I think he likes the Florida weather much better than what he was dealing with for 20 years in the Northeast. But this is another one that's very, very interesting because it's the Philadelphia Eagles. If you remember, went back when he was with the New England Patriots, the Eagles beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Now it's much different. Of course, Tom Brady's on a different team. That championship core for the Philadelphia Eagles is pretty much different. New quarterback, new head coach, different there, but ultimately it will be interesting to see how this game goes. It's one of the higher point spreads in the National Football League this week. It's about 8.5 points from a betting standpoint, which means it's not as tightly contested. The odds makers don't think this one's going to be particularly close, but you never know. I mean, going back earlier this season, both of these teams were pretty close in their lone matchup. I believe it was only a 1-score game. And again, when you get into the postseason, you never know what can happen. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers have been great at Raymond James Stadium, but Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, they have a good offense as well.
Yeah, any other players to watch?
The other things that we would watch, for me at least, is Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. They're hosting the Las Vegas Raiders this weekend on Saturday. To me, that one is a little bit underrated. Joe Burrow was unbelievable during his collegiate years at LSU, particularly in the high-pressure, big-game moments. Of course, he won a national championship with the Tigers, and now he's with the Cincinnati Bengals, who haven't won a playoff game in a long, long time. I believe it's been 40 years since they've won a playoff game, or something close to that. And so for me, if Joe Burrow can resurrect this franchise and start to have them moving in a direction where ultimately they are contending for championships, that'd be one heck of a story.
One heck of a story, but you know what? These really amazing college players sometimes just don't have the careers in the pros that we expect. We are rooting for them. Go Tiger. Former Tiger, I should say. Tyler Sullivan, we thank you so much for being here with us.